Hey Cheryl, it's Jimmy.
Hey Jimmy, how you doing?
Doing alright. How about you guys? Good. So the meeting should be, it's up live on YouTube now. So, not sure.
Last time I watched it, I heard everything 3 times, so I'm probably not gonna watch it.
Yeah, yeah, if you have any issues listening through on the telephone, just, you could just interrupt us and let us know.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hello? Who's that?
That was Christine.
Oh, hi Christine.
How you doing? What's that? Do your phone? This was doing this last time.
I
Can
can
you
just
move
turn
it?
it on.
Yeah. Yeah. It was doing that last time too. I don't know why.
Better?
Right?
Yeah. Kit, are you on the line?
I'm here.
Oops, these.
What? Now. I see you.
Yep.
Testing.
Hey Jimmy.
Christine's here.
Oh Christine, did Jimmy send the packet or you?
I did.
Oh, you did, okay. I think they're all sort of wind up on top of each other.
Yeah, he might have responded to it when he sent the conference call details. So,
Maybe.
That's probably-
I downloaded, oh here it is.
yeah, that happens. That bothers me too. I don't like
I
that.
downloaded Dropbox.
Yep. Oh, good. Yeah, you can get it through there too.
Right. Okay, now I hear everything we just said. It's being repeated.
Yep. So now you can just mute that and listen through the conference call.
How do I mute that?
Cheryl, I would just mute that.
I have to figure out how to do that
Yeah, otherwise it'll get confusing for you.
somewhere. Or, sorry. I have to figure out how to do that, maybe.
Do you know if Kit got on there?
Tell will submit to the township committee. Summarize for the record, and then she can give me a more detailed statement. I will give the whole committee.
Should I call?
No, that's not it. It's TWP, isn't it? TWP. Just give her a seat, guy. No.
Maybe she'll call it. Just leave 1 second.
Cheryl's on the line, and I'm not sure if Kit is on the line. You know if Kit called me?
I haven't heard.
You're here, Richard.
Kit, are you on?
Excuse me 1 second. Hey, where are you? 7 o'clock.
Kit, are you on the line?
When you call,
I have it.
Wait, hold on.
Cheryl, are you still there?
She needs a call.
Aye.
How are you calling me?
Hold on.
Uh,
Yep.
Tara? Jimmy.
All right, well, if Tara's not there, we could be evenly spaced out down here,
Yeah.
so we don't look so off-centered.
Okay, we good?
Calling you.
She thought it was 7 o'clock, or 7:30. She's home. She thought it was for 7:30.
Just get in her car.
Richard.
Okay.
There was a delay.
It's funny, right? Like you see yourself walking after
Yeah.
you've been in.
Good evening, residents. Just a couple more minutes and we'll begin our meeting. Stand by.
Hi.
Okay. Hey, Tara.
Tara's on the phone.
Is Cheryl on the phone too? Cheryl and Tara, you're with us? Good evening.
Thank you, I hear you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Kit was just having trouble with the dial, I think we're all set.
In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, be advised that a notice of this was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. Please all stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Burstein,
Here.
Ms. Prupus,
Here.
Ms. Thal-Eglo,
Here.
Mr. Wasserman,
Here?
Mayor Lieberberg.
Here.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion?
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And- Any opposed? May I have a motion to approve the March 3rd, 2020 Township Committee minutes?
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain. That's all.
May I have a motion to approve the March 3rd, 2020 Special Township Committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain. Cheryl.
Okay. At this time now, we'll start with the reports. I'll begin and then we'll go around the dais and from our virtual colleagues. Um, Good evening. We have indeed experienced a challenging few weeks as we continue to keep our residents safe through this unprecedented time period. Currently, we have 82 cases of COVID-19 in the township. With great sadness, I report that we have 2 residents that have passed away. Please know our seniors are getting groceries. Our community is engaged in making masks, distributing supplies, and supporting our local restaurants and first responders with meal donations and financial donations for PPE equipment. Special thanks to our police, fire, and DPW workers who continue to do their part in this pandemic. We know that we are being tested as a community, and I am grateful for their service to our residents and merchants. Please consult our website for all the local initiatives that are taking place and ways that you can donate your time, services, or make contributions directly to all organizations that are striving to improve the lives and livelihood of our residents and businesses. It takes a village, and I know we have one of the best around. I also want to note on the consent agenda item for this evening, we hope we will be making a donation of $20,000 to the Millburn Short Hills Volunteer First Aid Squad. In good times, they provide a vital service, and now more than ever, we appreciate and acknowledge their selfless contribution to our community. The volunteers are completely committed to assisting our residents, and we are so very grateful as they continue to operate, whereas many other squads have either closed or are on hiatus during this crisis. I also would like to let everyone know that I signed an executive directive yesterday following up on Governor Murphy's Executive Order 108, permitting municipalities and counties to restrict online marketplaces for arranging and offering lodging. This administrative order gives municipalities the ability to impose additional restrictions and to limit transient guests as of 8 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th. Millburn Township enacted this order yesterday, April 6th at 3:30 p.m. No short-term rentals are allowed until further notice, except for healthcare workers taking temporary residence. I'd also like to add that this afternoon, Governor Murphy signed an executive order closing all state and county parks. For now, our municipal parks are open with the understanding of social distancing. If the public does not adhere to these strict protocols, we will be forced to close the parks immediately. To our residents, thank you for listening. Please remember to walk facing traffic and cycle with traffic and walk 6 feet apart. We must adhere to these rules. Committee members, who would like to go first?
I'll say something. Hi, Mayor. First of all, I want to say your communications have been outstanding. Thank you for keeping us all informed. I also really want to give a shout out to Alex McDonald and Christine Gaddy. I don't think people know in this town how hard our employees in town hall work, and what Alex and Christine have been doing is really superhuman. So thank you guys. Alex, amazing. I think people should know you're working, 18-hour days? So that's it. I have no reports, haven't gone to any meetings, anything, just getting the updates along with everybody else.
Thank you, Diane. Richard?
Well, I also want to chime in like Committeewoman Eglo. I just want to tell you how proud I am to see how hard our town hall is operating with Alex and Christine. Everybody's working really, really diligently, really, really with a lot of sensitivity to what's been going on. There are a lot of very serious issues that are dealt with every day. Also, I'm always amazed with our first responders, our first aid squad. These are our neighbors, our friends who are on the front lines. They put on a mask and their equipment, and they go, and it's really makes me proud to be a resident here. To see this, it's really encouraging. And of course, lastly, I just want to thank our mayor. Jackie's doing an amazing job keeping everybody informed, and the communication has been great. And I want to really thank all of our committee members. I mean, I think everybody's out there trying to stay in touch with the community, and we're all here for our neighbors. And lastly, I'll just say one last thing. I said too much already. I also want to let everybody know about our food pantry, which is functioning. We have a food pantry in town, and I want to give a shout out to Annette Romano, who was one of the people that started it. She did a great job, getting this going, along with Deputy Mayor Prupis, and it's coordinated with Anna Millen. Who works as a social worker for Town Hall. These three are coordinating. If any residents have any extra food, dry food that they'd like to donate, please. The food is being used. It's being donated. People need it, and please, if you have extra food, please drop it off. I believe you can drop it off at Tara's store.
Green Nectar Market.
Green Nectar, and so please do that if you have extra food. Thank you so much.
I'd like to just say about the first aid squad that they have an ultraviolet light. I'm sorry, this is buzzing. I thought I turned it off. I apologize. I think that's like a really great thing to know, that they are sterilizing the rigs and they are using extreme caution before and after all calls.
Thank you. Committeewoman Burstein, would you like to add anything, please?
I haven't been to any meetings either, so I have no reports. Again, thank you for continuing the communications.
Thank you. Committeewoman, Deputy Mayor Prupis, would you like to continue next?
Great, thank you. So tomorrow we're having our first Zoom PSAB meeting, and that's open to the public. It's at 8 a.m. So if people want to participate in that meeting, they just go to the PSAB website or PSAB page on the website, the town website, and they can find all the information there. It's tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., nice and early.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Alex McDonald?
Yeah, I hope the committee will just indulge me for a quick second, because it's been a while since we've met, and I just want to make sure that I provide a full update, although I've been doing my best to update the committee on a daily basis. First and foremost, I just wanted to let everyone know, the committee and everyone out in the public, that the township staff is fully operational and here to help. Police, fire, public works are all coming in each day, healthy, ready to serve. I too must express my appreciation to the township staff in all departments. They have not backed down one bit and rose to the challenge and continue to be dedicated in serving the residents of Millburn. I also want to express my gratitude to the committee for your support and for allowing us to work through this. You know, there's a lot of things that go on each day, a lot of decisions, and again, I appreciate that support. And also a big thank you to the residents of Millburn Township too, because I think, you know, as the mayor had said, there's a lot of support going on out there for the first responders and for the staff, and I think, you know, in times like this, that boosts morale, that helps a lot as they come in and you know, are those first responders in these types of calls, and that's inclusive of the Millburn Short Hills Volunteer First Aid Squad. Just to reiterate the mayor's comments about the executive order that was signed today, you know, the township parks will remain open. However, we are at the ready with a draft directive, you know, barricades by the parks as well as signage in the event that these need to be closed immediately. I'd just like to show the committee, and I apologize for those on the phone, but we have a checklist of basically every single park, playground, basketball hoop, field that we have in town that our Department of Recreation and our code enforcement go by to ensure that how they're being used, the social distancing that's taking place, and reminding people when they do observe that. Certainly also our police department is involved where necessary, and we're trying our best not to dedicate that resource to those types of actions, but if necessary, you know, that is also an option. Just a sort of a brief update on some of the operations. You know, again, Town Hall has pivoted quite a bit on our operations. We've split into 2 teams of 15 that work a week on, week off, as well as many departments have shifted their own responsibilities to help out where needed. As the mayor stated, we are doing a shop for drop for seniors, which people can call. That's consuming not only recreation, customer service, and the senior citizen coordinator. They're doing a fantastic job. They're shopping for about 12 individuals every Tuesday and Thursday, so about 24 orders a week. And various people helping out with deliveries, including Committeeman Wasserman, Committeewoman Prupus, which is great. And so we've also basically had to up our public information staff to include 2 other individuals that don't normally work on public information, but because there's so much information on a daily basis going in and out, we've shifted some of those resources. Just to give everybody a little bit of a sense, our website the traffic has increased 156% for total sessions in the month of March, and 123% for increase for total users. So people are finding the information, they're going to the website, they're looking for the information. We've also increased 58% our engagements on social media, so, you know, just want to kind of put out the reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a township website. This is where the best place to go get your information on COVID. We have an information hub on the township's website that is very useful and sort of covers a broad range of things, as well as obviously our social channels. In addition to sort of stepping away from the COVID aspect of things, I just wanted to update the committee on a few other things, sort of more normal business type items. The township a little while back had authorized us to go forward with the adaptive lighting project with Mazer. Just want to let everyone know that is taking place. However, there will only be a certain point that Mazer will be able to get to. Certainly with the lack of traffic, there will be no traffic counts being taken. However, they are going to be working with the county, looking at the traffic boxes, making sure that we have what type of equipment would work best, analyzing the intersections, which involve Main and Millburn, Essex and Millburn, Lackawanna and Millburn, Essex and Lackawanna, as well as the intersections, the signalized intersections on Main Street. Just wanted to update the committee that is progressing. So the only other thing that I've been asked to report on, and I'll do so briefly, is that the Township Committee had received a comment, and I can certainly wait until the public comment portion and address that in a sort of a more succinct manner, if that's best.
Whatever you feel.
Well, just briefly, and we can read I don't know if you're gonna read the comment into the record, but we had received some inquiries, and I think it's important to just touch on, especially before the consent agenda, but, you know, certainly there's some economic and concern and inquiries and things that are going on with regard to whether it's sewer user fees, parking permits, second quarter taxes and things like that, and I think the general statement that I want to make about all of these items, and some of those items are being addressed tonight as they can be, and the general statement I want to make about that is that it's important that we understand how long this is going to last and what impact this whole thing is going to have on the township before we can really address specifically some of these inquiries, particularly parking permits. You know, I think that it's too early to tell, and it's not something that we should be necessarily considering in the midst of the pandemic, but certainly something that we have to keep in mind and look forward to addressing when we're out of it. So, you know, there's a lot of different moving parts, especially from an economic perspective, and I think that, you know, again, as I had iterated at the budget introduction, we're thankful that the township and to the township committee that we're in a sound financial position, and we want to make sure that you know we address this in a smart and thoughtful manner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Millburn Town Hall will be closed to the public for this meeting, and directions to access our live stream meeting through YouTube have been provided. There will be an opportunity to comment during the announced public comment period. You shall only comment when prompted when public comment period is open. Please be advised that you must be registered with YouTube in order to comment, which is a free service. Please be advised that your name, address will be submitted to the record in the order it's received. The best way to have questions addressed is to contact the proper channels and visit the website www.twp.millburn.us.nj.us. We will now open the public comment period. Mr. Homsey, would you like to read any of the public comments into the record at this time, please?
Yeah, we received one from David Sorkin. Alex has kind of alluded to it. I'll read it. He said, first, as a resident, I'd like to thank Mayor Lieberberg for her leadership and her constant communication to the township during the past few weeks. Initiatives being taken and the confident, transparent, informative tone that is being used have been extremely well received by all. Thanks to all of you in Town Hall for working so hard to preserve our safety during this difficult time. Second, as a small business owner in town, I would like to formally suggest a consideration of a full or partial reimbursement for the business parking permits that went into effect January 15th. From a personal standpoint, I purchased 5 business permits in January, totaling over $1,500, that are neither being used by my employees nor being enforced by the township. As all businesses in town are in an ongoing forced closure, all employees have been mandated by the state to work from home, and all parking restrictions in town have been lifted for the foreseeable future. Seems like a full or partial reimbursement on business parking permits would be an opportune and appropriate way for the township to support the small business community while the current executive order is in effect. Thank you for your understanding and your consideration. Respectfully, David Sorkin.
Thank you.
I listed in the chat that people could submit their public comment now, so maybe you want to give it a minute because of the lag time
Great.
for them to submit. I put it up on the screen, you can see them come in, but I'll read them out loud.
Do we want to respond to anything or not necessarily?
Not at this time.
Yeah.
We have about 30 viewers right now, just under 30.
Jackie,
Yes.
hello?
Yes. Hello, Tara.
Can I make a clarification about something? Because I kept saying PSAB, but maybe people are listening and they don't know what that PSAB is, Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board. I just want to clarify that
Thank you.
to All right, thank you.
Here we go. Here's one.
Priya Patel, had stated she emailed her a comment because of the character limit on this, on the chat on YouTube.
No, because it went to town clerk, so.
I have it on mine. I received it. Okay. This is from Priya Patel at 9 Fairview Road. First, I want to thank the Township Committee for their leadership and courage in passing a single-use plastics ordinance last December. I'm making a public comment tonight on behalf of the Millburn Environmental Commission and Green Team to strongly urge that our township continue with the June 12th, 2020 enforcement target date of our ordinance as planned. I currently chair our town's environmental commission, and it has come to our attention that committee members may have received a letter from Linda Doherty, President and CEO of New Jersey Food Council, regarding single-use plastic bag ordinances. That letter is filled with misleading and baseless claims and should be read with great skepticism. The Food Council's letter is a blatant and frankly shameful example of fear-mongering in a time where there are far too many unknowns. There's absolutely no evidence stating that a single-use plastic bag is safer than a reusable bag. To claim that one type of bag is safer than another is irresponsible and lacks scientific backing. There is no rational reason anyone should think using a clean, reusable bag from home is less safe than a single-use plastic one from the store. With clean, reusable bags, there is a clear chain of custody. Individuals carry, pack, and clean their own bags, whereas an untold number of people handle the bundles of single-use bags. Furthermore, anyone concerned about grocery shopping and coronavirus should be encouraged to wash their reusable bags as you would any other washable household item. Even the medical community acknowledges that a reusable bag poses no additional risk to a cashier who is handling thousands of store items touched by thousands of individuals, as well as cash and credit cards. As for supply chain issues for plastic and paper bags, under the ordinance, residents can and should be further encouraged to bring reusable bags. In fact, Mayor Lieberberg has already planned to distribute reusable bags, embedded with a logo, Shop Local, to not only assist residents in the transition, but to also show support for our local businesses during this difficult and challenging time. Climate change and plastic pollution are ongoing crises on a global scale. We are now faced with yet another global crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic. Together we can continue to fight the scourge of single-use plastic responsibly while also maintaining public health and safety for all Millburn residents. Thank you for your time. Respectfully submitted, Priya Patel.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public?
Nothing else has come in while reading that statement. We have about 30 viewers.
I would like to close public comment at this time. Thank you. The committee will now consider consent agenda resolutions. The resolutions are 20-085 through 20-095. Are there any comments from the committee with respect to the consent agenda items on the list?
I do have one question, Mayor. I don't know if you or Alex. Is the Boxcar Restaurant officially shuttered?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
The boxcar is no longer operational during this.
Not even for takeout?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's
Are
it.
there any other questions from the committee with respect to the consent agenda items? May I have a motion to approve Resolution 20-085 through Resolution 20-095, which are listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote?
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Ms. Dahl Eglo?
Yes.
Mr. Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Lieberberg?
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, Ms. Dahl Eglo is scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2551-20.
Thank you. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2551-20, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of an easement interest in a portion of the real property located at 383 Hobart Avenue, known as Block 3508, Lot 4. And this is, I'm sure residents must remember that we've been trying to get a traffic light at the corner of Hobart for many, many, many years. This has been worked on with our attorneys through Town Hall, and now we have the three corners. This is one of the corners necessary to put the hardware and the light. So tonight is the time set for public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare that the hearing is now open. Public comment for anything pertaining to ordinance 2551-20. Are there any comments from the public?
I opened it up on here and instructed everyone, so we'll just give it a minute.
Thank you. Please stand by.
So while we're waiting, I was going to ask you, once this gets passed, I guess you want to tell us maybe after all three of us go, what the next procedure, what the steps are?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah.
Please.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
May I have a second?
Second.
Maybe have a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Ms. Dahl Eglo?
Yes.
Mr. Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Lieberberg?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2552-20. I present for consideration an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of an easement interest in a portion of the real property located at 48 Hobart Gap Road, known as Block 3403, Lot 13. This ordinance is being proposed to authorize the acquisition of permanent easement on the corner of Hobart Avenue and Hobart Gap Road in order to enable certain signal and related infrastructure improvements to be made at this intersection. This is one of the four corners at the intersection that Ms. Dahl Eglo just alluded to, on the corner of Hobart Gap and Hobart Avenue. And this ordinance addresses that corner. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law. I declare the hearing open. Public comment period is now open pertaining to ordinance 2552-20. Mr. Humsey, will you let us know if there's any comment from the public, please?
Yep, I informed everyone that it's open, and we'll let it, so you guys know
Great.
if something comes in.
So we'll just wait a few minutes if there's any public comment. I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law. May we have a roll call vote, please? May I ask for a second?
Second.
Now may I have my roll call vote, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Ms. Dahl Eglo?
Yes.
Mr. Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Lieberberg?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Wasserman is now scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2553-20.
An ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of an easement interest in a portion of the real property located at 375 Hobart Avenue, known as Block 3302, Lot 7. This ordinance is being proposed to authorize the acquisition of permanent easement on the corner of Hobart Avenue and Hobart Gap Road in order to enable certain signal and related infrastructure improvements to be made to the intersection. This is the same as what we've just discussed. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with the law.
I declare the hearing now open. The public comment period is open pertaining to ordinance 2553-20. Mr. Homsey, you'll let us know if you receive any comments, please. I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law. Oops, that was Richard's.
You can say
Yeah,
it.
sorry.
All Do you want me to say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on the final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title. That's from second?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Ms. Dahl Eglo?
Yes.
Mr. Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Lieberberg?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, just in response to Judy's question, so these three ordinances were in effect prior and, had been introduced. There is actually a fourth ordinance that would follow on the April 27th meeting. These four corners are necessary to put in the structure, the traffic signal as was stated. The next step is that then the township attorney and their office will work with the residents at each of these properties to acquire that through easement based on the appraisal that was included in this ordinance and the dollar value of that appraisal for the portion, in a lot of cases, a pretty small portion of that property that would house the traffic signal equipment. So that would be the next step. So these three ordinances then can move forward, the attorney's office can move forward with. The fourth ordinance, the fourth corner, will be on the agenda for the April 27th meeting.
Can I ask one question? Now that we've passed this, and I know that there's still some more things we have to pass, when do we expect that the light will be installed?
Well, I think right now we're getting all the pieces in place, and it'll be dependent upon, largely dependent upon, once we've been able to get the easement agreements with the property owners, the county's construction schedule.
Oh, got it.
And as they're going to take the lead on that.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks.
Does anyone from the committee have any other questions with respect to this?
I guess we're all excited.
Yeah, finally.
Yes.
Ed Mazer, hello, Ed Mazer, if you're watching.
Now is the time for old business. Does any?
Mayor?
Yes.
This is Kit.
Hello, Kit.
Good evening to everybody. I had one matter to report
Oh,
before you conclude the meeting.
No, yes, I'm terribly sorry. My apologies.
That's all right. It's just a quick item. There's been a lot of activity, both on the part of the state and the municipalities in connection with the public health emergency as to how the land use board, the planning board, and the board of adjustment can hold public hearings under the current circumstances. The Department of Community Affairs has issued some guidance on that topic. I've discussed it with the board attorneys and with Alex, and I will soon be convening a telephone conference with the board chairs and the attorneys to go over the guidance, some of which is workable and some of which is not, but we're going to take a good look at it. Thanks.
Thank you. And when do you anticipate that, Kit?
Well, I'm going to try to have that telephone conference with them this week.
Great. Thank you.
Just to chime in on that, the land use board meetings have been canceled through April due to noticing requirements. So the hope is that this will be, that this conversation and the land use boards in some capacity will be able to get up and running for the month of May.
Thank you. Does any committee member have an item of old business to address? Tara, why don't we start with you, and then Cheryl, and then we'll go around the dais. How's that?
I don't have any old business to bring up or new business, but it's very hard for me to hear sometimes on the line.
Same here. But old business, and I understand that it may be something that Committeewoman Eglo is going to address. It's something that I raised with you, and it was something I guess that Priya Patel forwarded in connection with the plastic ban. Diane, are you addressing that?
Well, I would have something that I would like to speak from Mr. Bill Sumas, who owns the Millburn ShopRite, in fairness, that his feelings about that. Yes, but go ahead, Cheryl, what your feelings are.
Okay, so my feelings are this, and I understand where the environmental commission is coming from, but I also, what was missing from what she said was having our groceries delivered. And I would like to know how, in connection with that, we're not using our own bags. They are being delivered to us. So in connection with that, I want to understand what's happening with additional charges as it is. If you're ordering from an Instacart or something like that, the pricing is tremendously expensive. And on top of that, are we going to be charging for that as the ordinance sets forth? Are we going to open up the supermarkets from the new way here? I understand the environmental commission, but I also think that realistically, they're not addressing the situation as we are confronted with it.
Wouldn't Instacart have the carve-out the same way that some of the restaurants would?
I have no clue what you just said.
Okay. I said, I'm not sure whether or not Instacart has a carve-out for their deliveries the same way that restaurants delivering food. Something we need to look at.
So, Cheryl, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, so I think, so Bill Sumas, who owns our ShopRite and Livingston ShopRite in Springfield, had called me because we had been meeting with him when all this started rolling out with the environmental. And I will share some of his concerns. He said they're not allowing their associates to bag reusable bags for their own protection. This is not a time that we want to influx of reusable bags into the store. We are operationally focusing on safety measures this time, and this would divert our attention from being able to focus on keeping people 100% safe. Lastly, he pointed out this is a stressful time for our customers. And this is where we have to decide. and he feels trying to get them to change their habits at this time may be too much. And the letter that we received from Renee Paparian from the Green Team, along with what Priya said, they feel it's going to be stressful anytime. This is, we did pass this ordinance, and I guess what we will have to decide to talk about, do we want to put it on a hold? And if we do that, what are the legal ramifications? Because we did pass an ordinance with a specific start date. So do we want to, because I think what's going to happen, the plastic bags now are really, it's CVS, Walgreens, and ShopRite who are giving out plastic bags, aside from the restaurants, as Cheryl said. So I guess what we should discuss is, could we put a delay? And if we don't put a delay and there's no enforcement, then how does that play to the public also? So we're not enforcing it. So I guess we should just have a discussion where we want to go moving forward, seeing the owner of ShopRite's perspective, and of course, what we worked so hard to pass this ordinance and try to make it fair to everybody.
Well,
Can I just respond a second?
Sure.
Okay, so no one's suggesting we should have this ordinance. The only question is whether we postpone the start of the ordinance a couple of months, probably, my guess would be till September, as opposed to in June, simply to get through this period. Because I think that, I really think the issue is all the delivery services, as opposed to whatever else has been said.
Okay. So when your stuff arrives from Instacart, is it in both plastic and paper or all plastic?
I think it's mostly plastic.
Okay.
I don't know, I actually am usually working when it comes.
Okay. Okay. Richard?
Yeah, my question is, when does the ordinance actually start?
June 12th.
June 12th. So we still have we hopefully, I mean, I'm thinking hopefully I'm hoping that we'll be past this pandemic by then, and that we'll be coming out of this. Personally, I think that at some, I don't know if there's ever a good time to start something that's drastically new. I mean, I think we have a couple meetings, before, if we think that this pandemic is going to go on a lot further and it's going to be a issue, I think we still have a couple meetings, where we could take this up. Personally, I'd really like to start it, at some point, we have to eliminate these one-use plastics. There's never a great time to do it. I am sensitive to ShopRite. I mean, they are a really great merchant. They really help the township. But I think at some point it's time, to start this. My 2 cents is to, if there's going to be an issue or if this is going to go on for a prolonged period of time, we still have time to act on it if we had to. But I personally wouldn't want to do anything right now.
If we were to have to delay it, if we decide that, I guess Kit or Alex, what would that mean?
So that would mean that you would have to pass a revision to the ordinance.
Okay.
Which would involve a 2-meeting process.
Okay. So we'll just keep that in mind.
Yes, and I have received a letter, I think everybody in the township, from the mayor of Bradley Beach. And his thought was that by using the reusable bags, that it's actually fewer touches because people would be bagging their own groceries rather than an attendant bagging their groceries. So from that standpoint, it's less touches and less contact. So that's just something to think about. I appreciate the fact that Committeewoman Burstein, you're talking about an Instacart and delivery services. That's something that we can certainly look at. And yes, did you want to add something, Cheryl? Go ahead.
Yes, and look, I completely agree that people who go bring their own bags, we do it, whatever. But my whole concern here is really the delivery services and the inability really to have people using their own bags. And as we're trying to teach people to change their habits, if you're having somebody deliver to you, you're not teaching them anything. So, but I do appreciate the fact that you recognize that I'm not talking about our residents and others who shop, but rather having the shopping done for them.
Yes, I understand that, and that has to be, I guess, explored from the delivery service standpoint. Committee, Deputy Mayor Prupus, would you like to weigh in on this as well?
I don't have anything to add right now.
Okay. Any other, okay, so we'll continue to explore and look at this over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully this pandemic will be in our rearview mirror sooner rather than later. Any other items of old business from the committee?
My last comment is that I really like to encourage everybody to continue to order, from our merchants, from our restaurants, even if it's curbside delivery. We're always, I think it's a really good time to double down with our own merchants and restaurants. And it's a very difficult time for anybody that's in their own business. And I know that we all want to support them. And so that's my final statement.
I do have one last question about our own merchants. Any word on when Millburn Standard is opening? Curbside only?
I have not gotten word from them that they've called for a inspection,
Okay.
health, construction, or fire at this point, but I can double check for the committee, but I anticipate it to be soon.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
I just had one other item of old business that I wanted to mention. Did anybody else have anything else to add with respect to our local restaurants or the single-use plastic before I mention one other thing? No? Okay. I just thought that, here we are, it's April 7th, hard to believe, but that it's important that we try to move forward with some of the recommendations from our traffic engineer, this entrance and exit at Dunkin' Donuts, the adaptive lighting, and I'm just grateful that we're going to be beginning to look ahead at some of these items going forward. New business. Does any committee member have any new business that they'd like to mention?
Mayor, I have a question going back to the plastics and the paper bags. So would it be that we would just require Instacart and the supermarkets to have paper bags instead of plastic bags? I mean, is that what we're talking about? Can't they just deliver in paper instead of plastic?
I see a lot of people
Carol?
getting food delivery in boxes, so I have not been getting food delivered, so
Right.
I thought at Whole Foods it's paper bags stapled, so I don't really know how the home delivery works, I can't.
And many
Speak to that.
towns have already instituted this in the Jersey Shore. I mean, they have these delivery services altered their delivery to paper.
Can't.
I think that's something
I'm
that
sorry to bring it back up again, but I'm just kind of a little confused as to what the issue is. They can still deliver, and they can deliver paper.
Okay, so my only concern is how it is impacting. I'm actually not advocating one or the other, believe it or not, but I do think we need to find out from our supermarkets if it's going to impact their ability to do business. That's really
But
all
they
it
had
is.
to be already considering this. I mean, it's already April, so we're talking 2 months. They've had to have a plan to institute this ordinance. I don't think that they were just like we passed this back in December and gave them a 6-month period. So I'm really supportive of keeping the ordinance intact as is in June. I don't see why we would change it because it's not like we didn't have it in plan beforehand, And I think they've had enough time to plan for it. So that's my 2 cents. Sorry for coming in late.
Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to add
No?
with respect to this Okay. New business. Anybody have any new business that they'd like to address? Okay. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy, a healthy, a happy Passover, a happy Easter. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed?